Hello and welcome back to the Pokemon Glitch Iceberg. We are joined today by Shaman here, who, when I went to pick it up from my plushie pile over there was a bug crawling on it, so that's how my day's going. This is part 2 of this series where I'll be covering tiers 3 and 4 of the iceberg. If you haven't seen part 1, I recommend watching it before this one. If you want to, I can't force you to or anything. I'll have it linked somewhere if you do want to check it out. A huge thanks to everyone who has already watched, liked, or commented on it. Again, I am basing these videos off of an iceberg chart I found on Reddit, made by the user Mediation, but I have taken some liberties with it. And these tiers will start getting into some of the more obscure glitches. Many of these I had not heard of before. So without further ado, let us dive deeper into the icy depths. M' is a glitch Pokemon similar to Missing No that can be found in Red and Blue. Like its more famous counterpart, it is a bird normal type. It also shares a sprite and Pokedex number 000 with Missing No. It is capable of evolving into a Kangaskhan or a Clefairy. It can be encountered via the Old Man glitch that we discussed in part 1 as long as your name is anything other than one of the default names. In battle, it has the pitched up cry of a Zapdos, while when viewing its stats page, it has the cry of a Rhydon. Just as with Missing No, encountering it will duplicate the 6th item in the bag by 128, and corrupt your Hall of Fame data. M' Charizard, while sharing a name with M', is a completely different glitch Pokemon from Red and Blue. It shares a typing and sprite with Charizard, hence its name. Its cry is just static, and hearing it may stop the game music. The only way to obtain it is by trading its Pokemon Yellow counterpart, Q, into Red or Blue. It has the ability to hide all Pokemon below it in the party, just like in the Johto cloaking trick. It also has the curious ability to create hybrid Pokemon when placed in the PC box, something we'll talk more about in the next entry. So as I just mentioned, Q is the Pokemon Yellow counterpart of M' Charizard. These Pokemon can cause something called the Pokemon Merge glitch, or hybrid Pokemon, when placed in a box with other Pokemon. The Pokemon in the box will transfer moves and stats between each other, with each Pokemon becoming an unstable hybrid of itself and the Pokemon below it. These hybrids can be stabilized by placing them in the daycare or trading them to Pokemon Stadium 2. This is one method of getting Pokemon to learn moves that they wouldn't be able to normally. In Pokemon Coliseum, if you select a Pokeball during your first Pokemon's turn, switch its location with that of another kind of Pokeball using the Y button during the second Pokemon's turn, and then use that Pokeball, the Pokeball pocket will still display the same number of Pokeballs as though you hadn't just used one, essentially allowing you to have infinite Pokeballs. Counter is a fighting type move introduced in Gen 1 that doubles the damage received by the user during the last turn from any normal or fighting type moves. If no damage was taken from any such moves, the move will miss. However, there is a glitch in the Gen 1 games where it will sometimes strike back damage that isn't from a normal or fighting type move. In order for this to happen, the target of Counter must not have selected any move during the turn Counter was used, due to being asleep, frozen, etc., but have used a normal fighting type attack in the previous turn. When in a link battle in Gen 1, certain moves can cause a desynchronization between the two players' games. One of these is the move we just discussed, Counter. If an opponent who would have taken damage from Counter becomes paralyzed before Counter is used, the players will desync. Another move that may have this effect is Psywave. Psywave inflicts a random amount of damage between 1 and 1.5 times the user's level. However, on the opponent's side in a link battle, the multipliers are 0 and 1.5. Therefore, if a 0 is generated, the games will desync, with the opponent taking no damage on their side, yet taking damage on the Psywave user's side. I hope any of that made sense. Lastly, thawing can cause a desync. If a frozen Pokemon thaws during its turn, it will randomly use a move despite the player not having selected one. The moves used may differ between the two games, causing desynchronization. This game pack is designed only for use on the Game Boy Color as a message that appears when trying to play a Game Boy Color exclusive game on a regular Game Boy. This message can sometimes appear erroneously when playing Pokemon Crystal on a Game Boy Color after activating the glitch dimension, preventing you from playing the game. The glitch dimension is the name given to a side effect of one of the coin case glitches in the Gen 2 games. It causes the game to have altered visuals, most notably a different color palette. It can be performed by listening to the cry of a Pokémon in the Machop family and then using the coin case, or may result from using the glitch move --, also known as Cool Trainer. The Pal Park Retire glitch is yet another extension of the Void glitch in Diamond and Pearl. This is the one that allows you to obtain Arceus. If you pronounce it Arceus, shut the hell up. To do this, the player must access the Void through their preferred method and travel to the Pal Park within it. This will make the game think that you have entered a catching show, replacing the bag and save options in the menu with the Retire option. If you then travel to the Hall of Origin in the Void and select Retire, the game will run a script that triggers the battle with Arceus without the need for the Azure Flute. Arceus can actually be caught an unlimited number of times through this method, so happy shiny hunting, I guess. Bide is a move also introduced in the first gen where the user takes damage for 2 turns, then hits the opponent for twice the damage taken. There was a bug in the Gen 1 games that made Bide able to hit opponents who were in the semi-invulnerable turn of the moves Fly and Dig when it shouldn't be able to, causing their sprites to be revealed early. Dig has a glitched animation when this happens. Gen 1 Pokémon that evolve by trading can learn glitch moves if they are traded to a Gen 2 game at a level where their evolved form learns a move that isn't in Gen 1. If traded back to Gen 1, that move will appear as a glitch move. For example, trading a level 34 Machoke from Pokémon Red to Pokémon Gold will make the Machoke evolve into a Machamp. Since it's level 34, it'll learn Vital Throw. If it's then traded back to Pokémon Red, it will still have the move, but the game won't recognize it properly since it's a Generation 2 move, so it'll become the glitch move TM33 instead. In Red and Blue, it is possible to evolve a Pokémon that would normally require an evolutionary stone without one. To do this, the Pokémon you want to evolve must be first in your party, followed by a Pokémon whose hex value corresponds to the necessary evolution stone. Executor for the Moonstone, Missingno for the Firestone, Psyduck for the Leaf Stone, Growlithe for the Thunderstone, and Onix for the Water Stone. If you then battle a trainer, level up the Pokémon you want to evolve, then switch in the evolutionary stone Pokémon and have it finish the battle, your Pokémon will evolve at the end of the battle. Some glitch Pokémon can also be evolved using this same method. In the Gen 1 and 2 games, level 1 Pokémon aren't obtainable through regular gameplay. This is due to a bug with the way EXP gain was calculated for Pokémon in the medium-slow EXP group that caused level 1 Pokémon to become level 100 when leveled up. As we've seen in other glitches, the game can't interpret negative integers, so they usually underflow to an extremely high number instead. This is what is happening in this glitch, except the levels are obviously capped at 100. The only way to take advantage of this would be to use an exploit or hack a level 1 Pokémon into the game. In the Gen 1 games, if a Pokémon is simultaneously seeded by Leech Seed and badly poisoned by Toxic, the seeding damage will increase exponentially each turn, just like the poison damage. Thank God competitive battling wasn't a thing yet, can you imagine? The Skydrop glitch probably should have been in Tiers 1 or 2 to be honest, but the Iceberg creator didn't include it at all, and I completely forgot about it until I was writing this script, so you're getting it now. So Skydrop is a flying type move introduced in Gen 5 that is similar to Fly, except the user carries the opponent into the air with them, during which time they can't do anything. The glitch occurs in all Gen 5 games in double and triple battles when the move Gravity is used while 2 Pokémon are in the semi-invulnerable turn of Skydrop. Gravity grounds any airborne Pokémon, but upon doing this, the Pokémon that was the target of Skydrop will be unable to move until the Skydrop user is knocked out or switched out. This glitch was fixed in Gen 6, but another glitch arose in Sun and Moon when Skydrop is used on a Pokémon using Spiky Shield. Spiky Shield protects the user and deals damage to any Pokémon using a physical attack against it. Spiky Shield will damage the Pokémon using Skydrop, but the game won't recognize the move, and the attacking Pokémon's HP will reach 0, although it won't faint. Instead, its turn will be skipped and any moves used against it will fail. Because of this, Skydrop was banned from all official tournaments starting in 2010, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's still banned to this day. Game Freak actually started trying to scrub it from the games altogether beginning in Gen 8. The move cannot be learned or used by any Pokémon in Gen 8 and Gen 9. If a Pokémon with the move is brought into one of these games, the move description will read, "This move can't be used. It's recommended that this move is forgotten. Once forgotten, this move can't be remembered." Game Freak were really like, we are going to create a move so broken it will have to be retconned out in future games. In the Gen 1 games, there is a glitch that allows you to encounter land Pokémon while surfing on water. This is a sub-glitch of the Ditto trick we talked about in the last video, as these Pokemon appear after battling certain glitch trainers that can be encountered through the Ditto trick. Certain glitch items must then be used in order to trigger the Pokemon encounters. The item duplication glitch is pretty much what it says on the tin. Probably the most notable way of duplicating items in Gen 1 is by encountering glitched Pokemon with the Pokédex number 000, such as Missingno and M', who duplicate the item in the 6th slot by 128. If you exploit this glitch to obtain 255 of an item and then toss one item from the stack directly above it, it will duplicate the stack of 255. In the Gen 4 games, goods can be cloned in the underground in a similar way to Pokemon cloning. Two players must be connected to each other, and if one player gives an item to the other and turns off the game without saving, the item will be in both players' bags. In Scarlet and Violet, there was a somewhat convoluted item duplication glitch that involved cloning Miraidon or Koraidon, but I would imagine it's been patched out by now. In Gen 1, the Cable Club was the area of the Pokemon Center where players could go to link up and battle and trade with each other. Obviously, once connected with another player, you won't be able to leave the Cable Club without ending the connection, but there is a glitch that allows you to do so while making the game still think that you're connected with another player. There are two methods of achieving this. The first method is known as the poison method. Prior to Gen 4, poison Pokemon could faint from poison damage outside of battle, and if that Pokemon was your last remaining or only Pokemon on your team, you will black out and be warped back to the last Pokemon Center you healed at. If this happens while in the Cable Club, the game will still think that you're connected to the other player even after you black out. The second method is the Safari Zone method, which is similar to the steps taken to trigger Glitch City. You perform the same sequence of going in and out of the Safari Zone until the game thinks you're in a Safari game when you aren't. If you then enter the Cable Club and walk 500 steps, the Safari Zone PA will ring and warp you back to the Safari Gate. Again, the game will still think that you are connected with the other player. To avoid ending up in Glitch City, the player will need to use Dig to get out of the Safari Zone. The escape glitch can be exploited to replace the roster of any trainer with that of the player you were connected with. Stuck on a gym leader battle? Just replace their team with 6 level 5 Metapod and you're good to go. Fake Sinnoh and Johto are a sub-glitch of the Gen 4 Void glitch. This is a region of the Void where it will appear as though you were back on the map instead of traversing through infinite nothingness, even though you aren't. It can be encountered by walking 65,536 steps in the Void north or south from the map. This happens because the tile data overflows after this many steps. If you save and reset in the fake region, the game will warp you to the corresponding area of the real region, which can be exploited to reach otherwise unreachable portions of the map. Normally, if you try to throw a Pokeball at another trainer's Pokemon, the opposing trainer will block the ball and a message that says something like "Don't be a thief" will appear. But in the land of glitches, there are no rules, so stealing is a-okay. There are various glitches in the Pokemon games that allow you to catch another trainer's Pokemon. For example, using the glitch move 0x0411 in Pokemon Emerald will turn a trainer battle into a wild Pokemon battle, letting you catch the opponent's Pokemon. PokeW Trainer is yet another glitch Pokemon that can be encountered in Red and Blue. It's a normal ground type, and its cry is part of the Wild Pokemon Defeated tune at half the usual tempo. Its sprite is a glitchy box with black bars. If you level it up, it will try to learn the Cool Trainer or Dash Dash move 4 times. It can be encountered through the Mew glitch with a special stat of 196 or the Time Capsule exploit by sending back a Typhlosion. Encountering or battling with it has a tendency to freeze the game, making it more difficult to catch and use than some of its fellow abominations. The Iceberg creator listed 3 different well-known researchers in the Pokemon glitch community, so I'm going to group them all together in one entry. They are Chickasaurus GL, also known as Eevee, the Zaz glitch, who takes their moniker from the glitch of the same name, and Crystal_. All 3 of these absolute legends have YouTube channels where they demonstrate and catalog various glitches in the Pokemon games, mostly those found in Gens 1 and 2. Their videos are frequently referenced in Bulbapedia and Glitch City Labs articles and have been invaluable to me making these videos. You may have noticed that I've used several clips from them in both this video and part 1, particularly Chickasaurus GL. Thank you for your service. The Item Underflow glitch is an extension of the Gen 1 item duplication glitch. When you duplicate the stack of 255, the last item in the bag becomes the cancel button. The more stacks you duplicate, the further up the list the cancel button will move, rendering any items underneath it inaccessible. If you do this until the top item slot becomes the cancel button, the game will think that you don't have any items in your bag. However, if you speak to an NPC that you are required to give an item to, such as the thirsty gatehouse guards, the game will still recognize if you have that item in your bag. Once you give the item away, the game will attempt to decrease the number of items in your bag by 1, bringing the total number of items to -1. As we've mentioned before, the game can't read negative numbers, so this will underflow to 255. This allows the player to access regions of the game's memory that are stored just beyond the bag's items, and basically fuck around with the RAM. For example, by instantly warping yourself to the Hall of Fame. The dry underflow glitch is a variant of the item underflow glitch that doesn't require you to give an item to an NPC. Instead, you use the select button to swap 2 of the duplicated stacks of 255, which will merge them, decreasing the number of item slots by 1. The global trade station in Pokémon Diamond and Pearl allowed players around the world to trade Pokémon over the internet for the first time ever. It wasn't perfect, however. There was a glitch that caused Pokémon that evolved by trading to evolve after placing and retrieving them in the GTS, even if a trade didn't actually take place. In order for this to work, the player must successfully trade another Pokémon after depositing the Pokémon they want to evolve. Players would exploit this to evolve their Pokémon by asking for near impossible Pokémon in return, such as a level 1 Mewtwo, for example, so that their Pokémon doesn't actually get traded away before they can retrieve it. There is some debate as to whether this was actually a glitch or a feature intentionally placed into the GTS, due to the fact that if you trade a Pokémon to a random player in order to evolve it, you're unlikely to get it back afterwards. Personally, I'm leaning towards it being a glitch because I can't imagine Game Freak actually making it easier for you to acquire a particular Pokémon. Usually they like to make it absurdly difficult for no reason. I mean, these were the games with Mindy in the Everstone Haunter and the less than 1% Munchlax encounter rate for shitting out loud. In Pokémon Legends Arceus, if a shiny origin form Giratina tries to use its signature move Shadow Force, the game will crash. This is because Origin Form Giratina uses special animations for Shadow Force, and apparently they forgot to program them into the game for its shiny variant. Oopsie. As with the other Switch Pokemon games, I am assuming this bug was eventually fixed in an update. In Red and Blue, if a Pokemon gains enough EXP to level up more than once at a time, and they were supposed to learn a move at the level that was skipped, they will not be prompted to learn that move. Move reminders didn't exist yet, so that must have really sucked if it was a move you really wanted your Pokemon to have. I feel like I sound like a broken record at this point, but the remaining HP glitch is a glitch in the Gen 1 games. It allows players to convert a Pokemon's remaining number of HP into its index number, letting you obtain any Pokemon in the game. First, you must deposit a Pokemon with a catch rate of 255 that has remaining HP equal to the index number of the desired Pokemon into the box, along with 3 other Pokemon, and finally, the glitch Pokemon M' or Q. You should then fill your party with Pokemon from another box and switch back to the box with the Pokemon you just deposited. Next, catch a wild Pokemon and deposit all Pokemon in your party but one into a box other than the one with a Pokemon you first deposited. The glitch Pokemon should then be withdrawn, along with the Pokemon you just caught, 2 of the Pokemon deposited at the start, and the Pokemon with the remaining HP. The remaining HP Pokemon will have become an unstable hybrid of itself and the Pokemon with the desired index number. Stabilizing it will turn it into the Pokemon you want. This is one method of obtaining Pokemon not available through the Mew glitch. 8F is a glitch item in Pokemon Red and Blue that can be obtained through the item underflow glitch or by using certain glitch Pokemon or moves. It is used in arbitrary code execution to access the RAM location that stores the number of Pokemon in the player's party. In the Gen 2 games, if a Pokemon uses the move Sketch, a move that lets the user learn the last move used by the opponent for the remainder of the battle, while transformed, it will permanently learn the sketched move, replacing Transform in its moveset. Normally the only Pokemon that can learn Sketch is Smeargle, a Pokemon that does not learn Transform. So this glitch can only be performed if you have a Ditto transform into a Smeargle that knows at least one move other than Sketch, or if a Smeargle uses Transform through Metronome and also knows Sketch. These permanently sketched moves can be passed down through breeding under the right circumstances, allowing Pokemon to know moves they wouldn't normally be able to learn. You may recall from the Johto cloaking trick entry in the last video that the Gen 2 glitch Pokemon can hide the Pokemon below it in the party. In addition to enabling the time capsule exploit, this trick can also be used to add more than 6 Pokemon to your party. If you have 5 question marks in the first slot, the game will think that you don't have any Pokémon in your party. If you go to the PC with a full team of 6 and select the deposit option, your party will appear to be empty. Exiting the PC, viewing your party, and moving Pokémon above 5 question marks will open up additional slots beyond the 6 there normally are. Expanded party and counter table manipulation is a somewhat convoluted glitch that I'm not honestly sure if I completely understand, so I'm just going to be giving a very basic overview. It's yet another Gen 1 glitch that allows you to encounter any Pokémon of your choice, and involves several other glitches, such as super glitch moves, glitch Pokémon, and the party overloading glitch coming together. By viewing the summary of a Pokémon with one of the super glitch moves and depositing it into the box, the game will think the number of Pokémon in your party is 0, and will underflow to 255 once the Pokémon is deposited. Switching around certain Pokémon in your now hugely expanded party and performing various other steps will allow you to encounter the desired Pokémon. Pokémon Crystal was the first core series Pokémon game that allowed you to play as a girl. Normally the player can't change their gender after they select it at the beginning of the game, but there is a glitch that allows you to do so. If you go to the Cherry Grove City Pokémon Center PC and set up a box with 4 good clone Pokémon, 1 unstabilized bad clone, and 1 other Pokémon, withdrawing a Pokémon will overwrite some SRAM values, including gender, meaning that when you restart the game, your character will be the opposite gender. Pokémon Crystal really said trans rights. So that's it for tiers 3 and 4 of the Pokémon glitch Iceberg. Once again, we are seeing that the vast majority of these glitches come from Gen 1. Let me know what your favorite glitch discussed in this video was. The next part will be the last part where I cover tiers 5, 6, and 7, so stay tuned for that. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, liking and subscribing would be very much appreciated. I'll catch y'all in the next one.